or big black Ram truck. Even when you are intentionally exercising your faith, there's no guarantee that they. Well, true and not true at the same time. So you're right. You're right. Ultimately, at the same time, the Bible is pretty clear in stating not only that you need to do it, but that you can judge a pastor on how well he does it. This is just pretty straight up, right? I mean, it's actually terrifying for me. Let's look at this here. See if I can do a Bible search today and not have it go crazy. His children. That might be too big. We want to go. Sorry for motion sickness. I know it's so hard. We'll try 2 at once here. It's in one of those 2. I'm thinking it's Titus. We're gonna go to Titus. Nope. It's gonna be 1 Timothy, right? Nope. It's gonna be Titus. All right. Full chapter. Titus 1:6. Should I go slow so you don't get motion sick? Poor little childrens. Oh, don't do that. Oh, these windows. I love them, but then they're in the way of me being able to see. Let's see if I do it this way. Does that help a little bit? Kind of. All right. Yeah, it's Titus. So Paul is talking to Timothy about appointing. Now, if I could highlight at whatever that other site was and not have it do this silly little thing, so I could just put my mouse over something without it blocking it, that would be sweet. I would change websites for that. All right, he's talking to Timothy about why he's been left in Crete to keep the churches from falling apart in human senses and to put pastors everywhere. Appointing elders means putting pastors in every town. So, oh, for Pete's sake, internet and stuff. All right, where was it? There we go. Anyway, interesting. It doesn't say to hold voters' assemblies for them to choose elders. It just appoint them. But that's a different topic. Now, in describing what kind of men these should be, if anyone is above reproach, right, you can't publicly charge him of something gross. The husband of one wife, that is, he's not a philanderer. And then this one, his children are believers and not open to the charge of debauchery or insubordination. Now, you know what? I have not looked at this thing here. What is that? Oh, are faithful. Well, fair enough. Same thing. I have not gone and... did I really go back? Did I push that button to go that way? I thought I just went back from the note. I probably had to scroll up. I'm totally going to tangent now. My eye hurts. My face right here is so snotty clogged that my eye hurts from the pressure. Sickness is awful. All right. So, the point again, going back to the comment, right, is that if you can judge a pastor based on whether or not his children are believers, then it must be possible to press the faith onward, generally speaking. Now, again, I've wrestled with this. My kids are still younger, right? Is this talking about at that point, once the kid leaves, goes off into the world, and they fall away? Does that mean the pastor should be removed from the office? I mean, I could see someone reading this verse and coming to that conclusion. I'm not sure that all the verses bring us to that conclusion. But I take comfort in this, not for my own ministry, but for my children, to believe it's actually possible to pass the faith on. Because if you can judge me according to that, you can judge my teaching according to that, how I manage my household, that's how 1 Timothy says it. If you can judge me according to that, then it's got to be achievable. I have to be able to pass it on. And I don't think it's going to be by being a legalist, by the way. What am I supposed to pass on is part of the question. Am I supposed to pass on a rigorous ability to make apologetic arguments about everything? Not necessarily. I need to pass on the 10 Commandments, the Creed, the Lord's Prayer. I need to pass on grace, justification. So I agree with you that certainly there's the randomness of life that can cause anyone to fall away. But if your kids aren't listening, there's probably a reason. And I'm not saying I'm not trying to attack or anything. But usually there's, what on earth? This looks so weird. There's probably a reason. And it could be anything from the TV has already got them, and they're listening to that instead of you now. I don't know how to say this. You can miss a window. Let's just put it that way. Like by the time they're 10, if they're not listening, you're not turning them back. That's kind of the thing, right? So if we're going to talk about intentional parenting, and you're waiting until they're 7 to start with anything, um, except like sports, maybe, right? The likelihood of them being formed by it is much less. When is a child formed? 1 to 3 is when they're formed, and we generally speaking we don't make a lot of good use of that time. We just kind of put them in a corner, let them watch the TV. They don't watch. They're not watching. They're in the room with the TV on. They're watching, and they're being formed. And rather than having that be the time where we are especially taking them to church, especially holding them up so they can see everything, especially pointing to the hymnal, especially taking them into Bible study, right? Nope, they're not there for that. And they never grow into it, which is it's interesting to me.